As one of the most challenging sports in the world, Formula One is not the easiest place to make a return on investment, especially when you're new to its rules and systems. A lot of car manufacturers see Formula One as a great marketing tool for their high-performance vehicles, so getting into the sport was a way to seem like the real deal. Over the past 70 years, many have tried their hands at becoming constructors in F1 with limited success. Today, we'll go over some of the most recognizable names that have made attempts to gain from the popularity of this sport. You'll find some genuinely surprising names on this list, and you might even find some brands that have made a few attempts to captivate the sport. Lamborghini. Italian supercar manufacturer and one of the biggest brands in the world, Lamborghini's run in Formula One is truly special. The brand made its debut in 1989, but during its 5-year run, they failed to even come close to the level of success their fellow Italian counterpart Ferrari has enjoyed. The lack of prowess from Lamborghini in F1 was totally evident. At the time, Lamborghini's F1 role was strictly as an engine manufacturer. Under the ownership of Chrysler, they were responsible for supplying V12 engines for the Lotus F1 team and the French Larousse team. Unfortunately, their engines were unable to find much success, only managing one podium finish at the 1990 Japanese Grand Prix during their 5-year run. Even with the lack of silverware, Lamborghini had the potential to do great things. Unfortunately, other F1 teams decided to go with different manufacturers instead. Jaguar. The Jaguar Formula One team is one of the sport's biggest names, even today. They were actually hyped up and teeming with potential. However, the team was never quite able to reach its expected performance. In F1, Jaguar never really managed to use any of their engineering for the car. Instead, they opted to use the Ford Cosworth engines that were brought from the previous owners of the team. In 5 seasons of participation in Formula One, Jaguar never even managed to make it among the midfield pack. They were only able to finish 9th, 8th, and 7th in their final 3 seasons. The team only ever scored 2 podium finishes as they were unable to secure a single race win. The 2001 Monaco GP was their first win, and the 2002 Italian GP saw them finish in 3rd place. Many iconic drivers were a part of Jaguar, including Mark Webber and Pedro de la Rosa. Today, the team that was once known as Jaguar is now the one we recognize as Red Bull, an interesting turn of fate from selling the team back in 2004. Toyota. If there's a brand on this list that everyone actually expected to blow out the competition, it has to be this one. Toyota came into the sport at the 2002 season with tons of manufacturing and marketing experience. However, they were never really able to do anything special in the sport. With 8 seasons of competition, one would expect that a few race wins came into play. Unfortunately, the Japanese constructor was never even able to seal a single one. Back in the late 1960s, Toyota was also competing in Formula One, but they didn't find a lot of success in it, prompting them to take a 4-decade break from being constructors. In its first 3 seasons of their 21st century run, they found themselves outside of the points most of the time. However, in 2005, they made some changes and were able to secure 5th in the Constructors' Championship. That season gave them 5 podiums in total. They maintained a similar form in subsequent years, but the team was ultimately defunct in 2009 due to the economic crisis. Still, their time in F1 saw some iconic drivers like Jarno Trulli and Timo Glock. Brawn GP. Now, Brawn technically didn't fail, but the team still didn't make it in F1 past a single season. Here's the kicker though, Brawn literally won the 2009 Constructors and Drivers' Championships respectively. It's a bit surprising to think that a team that only stayed for 1 season was able to dominate so heavily. Coming into the start of their season, the team lacked sponsors and basically showed up to the first race with an empty livery. However, the entire grid was in for a surprise when this car was able to bring home 6 wins for the constructor, along with 3 podiums for Drivers' Championship winner Jenson Button. His teammate Rubens Barrichello also found success taking home 2 wins and 3 podiums over the course of the season. He finished 3rd in the championship by the season's ending. By the final few races of the season, new sponsors had flooded the livery, so it's safe to say that everyone else caught up to the hype. Now, why isn't Brawn still in F1? Well, at the end of the 2009 season, Mercedes decided to try their hand at becoming constructors, along with the engine manufacturing business. So, if the most successful F1 team of the past decade is Brawn's spiritual successor, it all makes sense. BMW Sauber. A luxury car brand like BMW in Formula One sounds like a match made in heaven. After acquiring the Swiss Sauber team, they began competing in F1 from 2006 to 2009. While in the sport, they were able to find some success in the midfield most of the time. However, the 2007 season was where things started to get interesting. For one, BMW Sauber took home 2 podiums and were able to place second while in the Constructors' Championship. Sure, they only got that position due to McLaren's disqualification from the championship, but the result was impressive nonetheless. In 2008, the team was able to provide amazing back-to-back performances. Robert Kubica took home 5 podiums and the team's only win at the 2008 Canadian Grand Prix. Sauber was a pretty decent team at the F1 paddock, and they were also responsible for the debut of Sebastian Vettel in 2007. Now he's arguably one of the greatest Formula 1 drivers of all time, so the success is well-deserved. In 2009, the team was sold back to Peter Sauber, the original owner prior to 2006. Lotus F1 Team. The Lotus Formula 1 team was built on the Renault brand to compete in F1 from the 2012 season. If this team is memorable to you, it's probably because this was the era where we saw Romain Grosjean in his prime. Along with Kimi Raikkonen, Grosjean finished 4th in the 2012 Constructors' Championship and netted 3 podiums. Meanwhile, 2007 Drivers' Champion Kimi Raikkonen scored 1 win and 6 podiums. 2013 was even better for Lotus, with the team securing 1 win for Kimi and 7 podiums. Meanwhile, Grosjean had his best season in Formula 1 as he scored 6 podium finishes in total. After some regulation changes in 2014, the team struggled to stay competitive in the sport. Rather than seeking consistent podiums, their goals were diffused into fighting for points. Honda. In 2006, Honda gave a shot at competing in the F1 Championship with a competitive car. The team actually looked quite strong for their debut, running with Jenson Button and ex-Ferrari driver Rubens Barrichello. During this season, they had some strong points, but the car's successes were marred by reliability issues. This made it difficult for them to even secure some rare victories. Plus, Honda was only able to finish 5th in the Constructors' Championship. Button did have some great moments with the team, such as his pole position and 3rd place finish in the Malaysian GP, a victory in Hungary and another podium in Brazil. 2008 was a difficult time due to the economic and financial crisis worldwide, so Honda had to hang the gloves with Formula 1 after that season. Marussia. When Russian automobile company Marussia took the plunge to join Formula 1, most people believed that they had what it takes to succeed. The team was originally bought from Virgin Racing, a brand dedicated to promoting the empire of billionaire Richard Branson. However, their 2010 to 2016 run was quite disappointing. First, they never really had a solid foundation of sponsors or buyers. Poor management and a few unfortunate circumstances made it almost impossible for this team to maintain a strong identity. In the 2014 season, they were unable to participate in the final 3 races due to a lack of funding. Tragedy struck in the paddock in 2014 at the Japanese GP, where young driver Jules Bianchi sadly passed away. As a Marussia driver, the brand struggled to keep up with others due to the controversy. Additionally, 2016 was another bad time for Marussia, where they only ever managed to score a single point. The team was eventually disbanded due to some financial issues. If there's one thing you can count on in Formula 1, it's the presence of big brands that are able to breathe new life into it. What are your top picks? Share them with us in the comments.